Hello, it's Mark from Cars and Cameras, and today we're going to take a look at 10 things you probably didn't know your Sony A7 Mark IV can do. The first thing we're going to look at is Super 35 or APS shooting mode. And we're going to go in the menu and we're going to go ahead and turn it on. By default, it's on auto, but we're going to go ahead and turn it on because I have a full frame lens on the camera. And this is a 28 to 75 Tamron lens, and you can see this is in Super 35 mode. You can see it looks pretty good. Now in the next shot, we're gonna look at this is what it looks like in full frame mode. So you can go ahead and use your judgment on how you think it looks. I actually think it looks pretty good. Here, I'm gonna show you on the monitor, toggling back and forth. You can see how much of a difference it gives you. Also, when you look in the far right-hand side there, you can see when you are in Super 35 mode. Here it is again, so you can take a look at it. The next thing we're going to look at is clear image zoom. So we're going to go ahead and turn clear image zoom on. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep the camera in Super 35 mode, and we're going to see how it looks. So here we are zooming in, and it goes 1.5 times crop in clear image zoom. And this is how you do it. So you kind of use the rocker here right to left. If you go to the right, it's going to crop in. If you go to the left, it's going to crop out. Here's what it looks like actually doing it in camera. And as you can see, it looks really, really good. This turns this 70mm lens into a much longer telephoto lens, and it looks great. You can see here it is again on the monitor. And that gives you quite a bit of crop. It's pretty cool. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is display quality, and we're going to change it to high. Now in the book, it says it only applies to when you're looking at still photos, but there is a marked difference when you look at playback video in this mode. Now the next thing we're going to look at is turning off that annoying, every time you hit the record button, well, you hear it there. So we're going to go ahead and turn off all audio signals. And by turning this off, all it does is turn off the audio signals when you stop and start record. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is video modes, and we're going to talk about your camera into the highest quality picture mode it can do. So to do that, by default, it's set in HD, but what we're going to do is we're going to put it in this mode here, which is the XAVC mode. And it is the highest quality mode that the camera will do. And you can see it gives you a very nice image when you're in this mode. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is steady shot. By default, the camera is set to standard steady shot. And we're going to go ahead and turn it on active steady shot, which does crop in on the image just a little bit. But it does give you, especially when you're shooting handheld, it does give you much more stable footage. So here's what it looks like when it's turned on. There is a slight crop, as I said, and we're going to see what that crop looks like here. So on the actual camera's monitor, we're going to go ahead and turn it on and off, and you can see as we switch from standard to active, you can see the difference of how much it crops in. Okay, and also I'm going to show you by using the function button how you can get to this very quickly. So when you turn on the function key, you can see there, if you highlight, it's set to standard, and you can go ahead and turn it off, set it to standard, or set it to active. So you can quickly change it to what you want to do. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the temperature setting of the camera. By default, the camera is set to standard, and we want to change it to high, because if you don't change it, especially when you're shooting 4K, your camera is going to overheat. This sets it to a higher temperature threshold to eliminate that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the anti-dust function. And what that does is when you turn the camera off, it's going to close the actual shutter in the camera to protect it from when you change lenses, because otherwise the sensor is completely exposed. Okay, and the last thing we're going to look at is this handy little notch cutout that makes it really easy to open up the articulating screen. Now, when you look at this camera, here is the A7S Mark III. It doesn't have one. When you look at it, you kind of have to grab it from the side. It's the only way you can do it. But if you look at the FX3, it does have one. So in a lot of ways, the back of the articulating screen is very similar to the FX3. Guys, I hope you enjoyed these quick tips. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you have a wonderful day.